Good morning. It's Sunday. I'm going to take a walk around the yard, and I thought I'd bring you along this week for my morning yard walk and just take a look at where everything is at this time of year. It's the end of May. We are in Central California, Zone 10A, and we are on the coast, so we get a lot of fog. We also get a lot of wind. There's a prevailing wind constantly coming from the west, and today is sunny and beautiful, and I thought it would be a good day to take a look at where we are now. It was pretty rough when we started because I had been laid up in bed for 8 months. So things are starting to get tightened back up, tidy, and right now I'm in the vegetable garden, and that's where we will start. This is our lower vegetable garden, and we just planted it up last week. It does border our driveway and our trash can area, which I'm going to eventually plant something in containers here that's tall. I can't plant in the ground because that's where our septic tank access is. But here's a backed up view of the vegetable garden area. And this front container, we emptied out our worm compost bins, which are over there. They have holes in them, and the goal is that worms get into them and do your composting for you. So we dumped those out into here, and perhaps it was a little bit early. So we're going to let that kind of settle, and I've only planted flower seeds in that this year. And then beyond that, I have a bed of 4 different types of basil, and then broccoli under the caterpillar tunnel, basil, cilantro, and then corn at the back, and that's starting to come up and look great. And on this side, this is just a decorative onion. A hollyhock I hope will go this year. It's a biennial, so it didn't have flowers last year, but it hopefully will this year. And you can see the radishes are all starting to sprout. And I have a dahlia back behind there, and this is peppermint pelargonium, which will do what this one is over here, the white, fluffy white one. This is also peppermint pelargonium. Sorry about the lighting there. And then I have, I believe this is a climbing rose, the Claire Austin climbing rose. The tags came off. I had kids help me plant 3 roses on this fence line here, and the tags came off. But I think this is the Claire Austin climbing. And we planted in a video together seeds for the calendula here, and that's starting to come up. And this poppy is the California poppy. It's California coastal poppy, and it is ubiquitous in our yard. You will see it everywhere. And I love it. I love the bright cheerfulness of it, and it just kind of, I think, brings some fun to the whole yard. So here's how our corn is doing today. It's looking good. I planted 2 seeds per emitter hole, and I'll have to go in and thin it. Looks like I overseeded some areas. This hedge here is it's called Catalina cherry, and it will eventually get as tall as our fence, if not taller. And then I have a Rogers red grape growing on the fence as well, which gives amazing fall color. So panning this way, this is Mexican sage. It's that purple. It's pretty vigorous, so if you plant it with caution, and you can cut it back to the ground every year and it will come back. And this is not a very attractive view, but I like the view this way. This area we call the side yard, and as you can see, we've gotten our mulch done this way. These are wood chips, and we put it over cardboard, and that just is an amazing weed mat. It knocks it all down, and when I get over there, you can really see the difference. This side we have all kinds of mint, and they're in a concrete bed, so they don't really escape. And there's some thyme there, and onions, and some lilies. You can see giant lilies popping out everywhere. So it's still a bit of a mess, but we're getting there. So this is what it will look like once it's mulched down there, but for now down there it still looks a mess. I just love these gladiolus. It seems like each color blooms at a different time. So right now the white ones are going really well. There's another white one way down there. And then it looks like the orange are going to come. And then there's also purple and I think red in this area. So it's kind of interesting because it gives you a changing show of color. So in contrast, you can see that this area hasn't been cardboarded and mulched yet. And we have grass and like 6 different types of grass. We have the California poppies, we have dandelions, we have everything coming up. And when we moved in, 3 years ago, we did cardboard and mulch or cardboard and wood chips, and it held fairly long, and then it decomposes into the soil, and then you got to do it again after a time. So this area, I have a lemon verbena, there's a yellow queen, I believe, columbine, and there's more on this side. You can't really see them because of the sun. And then there's also, I'm going to put the name on the screen because I can't remember right now. But what I did in this area, a lot of the areas where we hang out, is I planted a lot of things that are hopefully mosquito repellent, like catmint, like peppermint pelargonium, like lemon verbena, and then I also have some lemon balm. So those things are stinky and the mosquitoes don't like them, but I think they smell wonderful. I love this vignette of the lemon verbena, the columbine, the catmint, and then this is a potato vine on this side of this arbor, and on this side I have a yellow rose, more catmint, and then that's a lion's mane sage beyond it, and you can kind of see through the arbor here. There's a color change then when you come into this part of the yard, which is my office garden, I call it. I mean, this is also where our fire pit is. There's some trash that's heading to the trash cans. But this is more of an orange and blue and pink and yellow garden. So there's a lot of the lion's mane sage here. I have something I need to cut back better in the fall there. There's milkweed, the narrow leaf milkweed here. There's a really beautiful columbine that has pink and orange, and it's mixing in with that blue, which looks to me to be some sort of a sage. I cannot remember what it is. But I have 3 actually, different types of the lion mane sage. I have this one, which has a more curly leaf, and then this one has more of a fine leaf. And I also have a variegated one back in here, but it is not as vigorous at all. It is the same age as this plant, and this plant I have cut back to that size every year, and it comes back like this. So I'm not sure why that one's doing that. tucked back in there, it'll get bigger, is a rose. This is a night blooming jasmine, it's called. I have some nasturtium tucked in here. And there are a bunch of dahlias that are starting to come up. So that's fun. On this side, I have snapdragons. There's another rose here. There's a rose behind that persimmon tree that's going to start blooming here soon. On the building wall over there, I have the Jerusalem sage and Carpentaria. That's what the white flower on the other one, Carpentaria. And this here is some sort of a sunflower. You cut it all the way back, flushes back every year. And in here I have a lot of lemon balm and a lot of dahlias are starting to come up. There's some ranunculus in here. There were some white gladiolas in this area. I think gophers might have gotten them. And then I have a cute little white ground cover. It's still kind of a mess. There's our green waste trash can on its way. We have a lot of green waste. And then on the wall of my office, there is a climbing rose. I'll look up what it is, and but I can see it starting right there where my shadow is, right there. And this, I love this. This is citronella. And it's just, again, it's one of our mosquito defense mechanisms here. And a lot more dahlias starting to come up in this area. I'm trying to get my shadow away here. And I'm gonna put kumquats. I have them there in their nursery containers. I'm gonna put kumquats in these two planters here on the end of the well shed. I just love how everything dies back, but then the poppy flushes back every year, and it's like this beautiful low front of border plant, and I don't have to come up with something to plant there because wherever I don't plant something, it comes up and kind of creates a soft edge on everything. This here I have a rose. This area I just started planting up this year. There's a couple of donut peach trees here. There's dahlias, a rose, some sedum, some lisianthus, lemon verbena. So this was going to be looking better soon. Again, we're going to go into a color shift. This area, eventually, I have this grevillea here planted, and it will grow up and over. I might need to plant one more here, but I want to create kind of a green archway. And then in this area, it's mostly flowers that are red. Bottlebrush. This is a salvia. On this side, this giant wonderful beast is can't remember the name right now. I will put the name on the screen. But we had a giant tree here that fell, and so this area is somewhat undeveloped. But there's a lot of geraniums that are reds, and I have over here some little begonias, and more columbine that's got a red flower. And on this side, this is a volunteer. I think it's a Myoporum. Not really a fan of it, but we'll see. And then there's a wonderful climbing rose on that, on the fence there, and some radish weeds. Giant radish weeds there. I love this albutilon. It's got a fiery kind of real fiery look to it. And the yellow is the lime color of bloodleaf. This is a cousin it plant. Love him. My poor lantern is tilting. But there's more of that same plant. I don't know the name. These are gladiolus that have a kind of a parrot look. I do have a goodness, names are evading me today. Come on, maple, Japanese maple, one there, and there is another behind that, more myoporum there. So my goal is that each garden area really feels like a room and changes. There's a really beautiful red albutilon there. And these mirrors were just in the house when we got here. And we didn't like them, and we kind of piled everything. We did a lot of work. We piled everything on the fence line here. And the mirrors kind of stayed. And since we do have kind of cool weather a lot of the time, I feel like it helps bounce some light back in and give extra heat to plants. This is a wonderful Arbutus marina that I planted. It's also called a strawberry tree. Eventually I'll have to limb it up a little bit, but it's doing well. It's only 3 years old and it's 12 feet tall, so that's cool. Okay, and then you come out into here. I am going to come in the next week or so in this area and plant zinnia seeds, zinnia. Hundreds of them. I'm going to run more irrigation behind there. We have a pomegranate, a strawberry guava. There's a white and a red guava that are not doing well. They are not happy here. We've had no fruit. Give them one more year. It looks like that one's roots are out, but it's not. It's weeds. And then I have a rose here, and then another rose over there. And some, my favorite sage is it's here, the purple, it has a purple sage, and it's, what is the name of it? Winifred Gilman, I believe, South Cleveland sage, or Sage Clevelandii. And this random bathtub was in our warehouse, in a bathroom in there when we moved in, and we didn't want it, so we moved it out. And eventually I will put something in it, plant it up. But the only thing that was here there are two privets. And so I planted this one in the middle. I'll look up the name. It's Catalina, or can't remember the name right now. I'll go a little closer though. So it's a beautiful tree. There we go. Has this really pretty red bark and kind of serrated green leaves. It's beautiful. We just planted this pine tree here this year, and then this is a stone pine. It's gigantic. And you can see our wood chip piles. We're working on those. This is the area where we planted the oak leaf hydrangeas. So they're still in cages to be protected. And this is a sapote tree, a loquat tree over there. There's a Fuji apple beyond. And this whole area I'm working on. This whole back section was actually covered by this stone pine when we moved in. So we've been limbing it up. It's really happy here. It keeps growing. You can see the size of the candles on it. And we also, we're fighting weeds. This is the most gigantic mallow I've ever seen. That's a weed. But people can you can eat the little fruits on it. It's called cheese weed rather. And they're kind of gummy, and this is a relative of marshmallow, where we got marshmallows from. This is a radish weed. So radish, mallow, and then there's the mustard weed here. We get a lot of weeds. This area kind of shows you what it would look like. Well, you'll see back behind there more what it'll look like. So here's the agaves we planted. They're bouncing nicely. There were a bunch of leaves that were really damaged in transit, and I cut those off, and they're looking great. They're looking pretty happy. So I'm encouraged. There's our giant wood pile, and we'll head back that way toward the new arbors. So here we have our 2 new arbors. We're working on this garden back here, and let's see, here goes safely. I have 3 fig trees planted along the back, and fragrant cloud honeysuckle planted on these arbors, so that'll be great. And then I'm gonna plant some sort of a hedge along here that's edible, maybe feijoa again, or strawberry guava, because this eventually will be more food. Every time I plant something, my husband says, "Is it food?" Well, sometimes it is, sometimes it's pollinator attracting. So this just looks like a mess back here. I'm gonna try to kind of level it out a little more. It slopes up. There's a big lump in the middle. And I want to plant dahlia seeds, sunflower seeds, just do a flower garden back here this year. Right now it's in the shade, but it does get full sun once the sun gets up, 10 a.m. through the end of the day. And I'm working on a screening hedge here, which has Catalina cherry. It has some ceanothus in it, and just trying to give our neighbors privacy and give us privacy. And I just think it's beautiful to have a nice green backdrop instead of looking at each other's warehouses. All right, I'm going to continue on. Looking toward the trampoline. This wonderful vine here is kind of a beast. It's the passion fruit vine. And working on developing this area. I do think a lot of the mahogany splendor hibiscus that we started from seed will end up in this area. I do have an avocado back there that's probably going to get too big. I have to move. But nobody really ever goes back here, so I can plant it with things that are quite tall, and just kind of give us a nice, maybe the kind of go up and beyond the height of the trampoline, and give the kids kind of a fun jumping in the plants kind of a experience. This is a beautiful euphorbia. Sorry, gotta get around the trampoline bike here. There we go. And then I have more of it here. And one, I had 3, one survived. This is Baptisia, blue Baptisia. Only one survived. But we do have pretty bad gophers, and as you can see, there's just gopher holes everywhere. And then this is oh my gosh, I put the name on the screen. Can't believe I can't remember it right now. And I have grapevines on the rest of the fence here as it goes around that side. And then over there, we have more passion fruit. So passion fruit will absolutely take over. This is one plant, and it's covered a 30-foot long area, both sides. So it's very aggressive. Just a note that this is what it would look like if we didn't do anything to our yard here. There's sand, grass, weeds. It's pretty much all you'd get. So it's really a lot of work to get lush gardening here. Over here, I have mixed in with all the weeds. There is a strawberry. It's a native strawberry. I think it's called the Montana de Oro. And it's edible. And they're just really sweet, cute little fruits. It's quite mixed in with weed. You can see we have some crabgrass, prickly lettuce, mustard. I don't even know what that is. So, eventually, we'll keep weeding and this will spread and fill this area and maybe go around the side, that side also. Because we need to have weed cover here. This here is our back parking garden, for want of a better word. I have planted a ceanothus and Catalina cherry hedge. This is a black acacia, which is kind of a weed tree here. They're monstrous, they're flimsy, they get really heavy when they're tall and flop over. And we've taken a bunch of them out, but this one for now is remaining. Glorious yellow color in the spring. And then this is how you get to the other side of the back flower garden. I don't know what to call it right now, but it's a view from the other side. I do plan to come in here in this area, especially where there's kind of a slope, and do some natives. Sticky monkey flower, California sagebrush, and a black sage. I'll pop a picture on the screen of what that combination is going to look like. This area is kind of blues. So blue, orange, blue from the ceanothus. Blue and orange are complementary colors, so that will, I think, really look awesome. And I just would like to have a little area that's a little native swoop here. I'm gonna head this way into our shade garden. There was another one of those black acacias right here that we had taken out, and I'm really happy we did, because it was a constant. Every year we had to, not every year, we had to cut it back constantly. So these are a fortnight lily. I'm gonna move, there's one I can definitely split, another one I can split, put more of them along here. And there are grapes, two grapes planted here. They'll get more sun now that acacia is gone. On this side, not much going on. This is a canyon sunflower. And then on this side, we have some volunteer blackberry. This is very thorny. Hummingbird sage is filling in nicely back here, and there are a few heuchera that have a dark leaf and then a white flower. These are some of my favorite iris. I just think they're wonderful. I thought we had a hummingbird sage that was blooming back in there, but it's kind of hard to see. But love these iris. And if we pan this way, there's some more of the iris, some more of the fortnight lily, and this purple iris has already bloomed out, but I think it's wonderful. It's kind of fun to see these little walkways go off. So this is the shade garden. We have a wonderful canopy of oaks here, and it just gives a nice little relief on the hot days. I have come in with a lot of tree coleus and bloodleaf, the lime color. There's a hydrangea here that's about to go. It has a pink color that kind of matches the stems of the bloodleaf. I have hanging baskets and some heuchera, some sweet woodruff down here. The ivy kind of takes over everything. Not sure what we're going to do about that. On this side, We have the Geranium majorensis, which are just, they're kind of all bloomed out now, but they were just amazing for months. Some heuchera, some ageratum over there. I think only one of the ageratum is blooming. Back in there you can see a cute purpley pink geranium. There is a hosta back in there, but you can't see it because of the Geranium majorensis. There's one ageratum blooming. Kind of looks furry. I'm surprised more of it isn't blooming, but I do see it fighting its way up out of the irisine, out of the blood leaf out there, and so that's kind of cool. And if I look this way, we have kind of a dry creek bed here. We do have a rain gutter that comes down the side of the pool house and goes underneath here. And I just think this heuchera is so cute, the pinks. And then it of course plays well. I'm gonna plant, I'm not quite sure yet, either a coleus or an elephant ear in there. And I just put some more tree coleus on that side of the house to kind of color it in. Way back in there you can see the bubblegum, can't remember the name of the plant, but bubblegum something. And I do have some elephant ears and pots back there. Let's just see this way. So it's just kind of a neat shady area to come in on a hot day and take a breather. Looking back this way a little bit, there's Monstera. That was an indoor plant, one little indoor plant, and it just kept going and going, and I thought, well, maybe it'll work outside, so I put it outside. There's some elephant ears. And this bubblegum, these are in pots. You can't even see the pots anymore. And there's the native blackberry taking over. So this area has to be still kind of fight our way back out of it. Can't really see it. Back in there, there's Clivia. They will have an orange flower. I can't get in there, but it kind of backs up this vegetable garden area, which originally I was kind of imagining it as a more tropical feeling garden. So I have canna, I have birds of paradise. There's more of the pink heuchera. There were 2 peonies in here. There's one there. It's not looking very happy. If I can find the other one, I'm going to move them both up into the orchard more. And here is our veggie garden, upper veggie garden. These are our blackberry supports. There's the new thornless blackberries coming up. Very excited for those. This is a Rose of Sharon. There are some, what's the name of it? Not hyacinth, hibiscus. There's a few hibiscus scattered around. But look how happy things are. You know, our kale's looking great, the squash is looking great. Everything's looking pretty happy. We ended up moving the strawberry green stalk out here. It wasn't doing well in the pool room, and it had aphids. And also I realized it's not going to get pollinated. So a bunch of the pockets died, but I'll dig up some more and fill that back up. There's another one of our blackberries looking great. And look at this. Gotta thin the carrots, it looks like. But see how many weeds just happen every year, so we have to gotta get around with wood chips again. Flip this one open so it gets pollinators. Keeps the bunnies out, but gets pollinators. These are wonderful. They are strawberry guavas, and I'm going to try to train them up into an arch over this area. Looking this way, we'll get over there. That's the blueberry patch, but these are a purple gladiola. There's some more hibiscus in here, 3 of them. This one I'm hoping will go. It's a beautyberry, not a beautyberry. purple berries. I'll look it up. These are a 4 o'clock flower. They're a volunteer. They were here and they come up everywhere and they reseed like crazy. So if you don't want them, you got to pull them immediately. But if they're white, I'm fine with them. There's some pink that clashes with this area and I pull those. This is a climbing rose. It's extremely happy here. It's looking beautiful. It's gonna climb up this. I'll have to, when it gets some longer canes, I'll start attaching it to the wall and that'll be beautiful. I'm gonna walk back up this way through the orchard toward the blue garden. This is the orchard area, and originally we had a strawberry patch over here, but we just have too many snails and slugs, so I'm taking that out, but it's continuing to come back on its own. Taking it out and putting in flowers instead. So there are roses, there are lisianthus, there are dahlias, there's echinacea, bunch of different things in this area coming up. And I'm going to put some more lavender, some oregano, some catmint. And if we look on this side, there's some, not hydrangea, yes, hydrangea. A couple hydrangeas through here. This is where the one successful peony grew. I can see 2 peony plants, so I'm hoping they'll come back better. And this is, I believe, it's an orange something. It had scented geranium. I tried to keep critters away with scents, but the deer was a tough one, but now we think we have the deer fence successfully high enough. There were a bunch of daffodils in here. They're starting to fade. And for the orchard, we have 2 apples, 4 apricots. They were here. 4 plum trees that were here. And I have planted 2 cherries, I think 2 or 3 peaches, and what's the peach, but it's not fuzzy. Can't remember the name of it right now. Anyhow, here's blackberry. Blackberry. This is a native blackberry, and it is loaded with fruit. Absolutely loaded with fruit, which is great. I mean, it's native. It does its own thing. We don't have to do anything with it, but it is pretty aggressive. So I have an arbor that I am going to install over this area and train it up over the arbor because it just wants to grow all the way into the path, and we're not having that. I need to walk here. These are golden raspberries. They are wonderful. They're a little bit sweeter than a red raspberry. There's one that's almost ripe. No, not apricot. It's a peach, but not fuzzy. Goodness, why can't I remember? Okay. Looks like I need to, I don't know what in this area. It doesn't look very happy, that lavender. These are red raspberries over here, and this peach tree, last year it had this many fruit on it, and then the deer came in and ate them all. So I'm a little overprotective of this peach tree. It has its own deer fence around it. But, want those peaches this year. We head this way toward the blue swing garden. Purple swing garden, rather. So I have a lot of blues in this area. Blues and purples. Here's a purple. I got this at Annie's. Can't remember what it was. I was quite happy. This is year 3. This one is it's called a Kool-Aid tree. Can't remember its real name, but I have 2 of those. I had muscari in this area. There's some toad lilies, I believe, maybe. These ones. And then these are a blue anemone. Somebody corrected me. Maybe the plural of anemone is anemone, not anemones. But they're just stunning, stunning, stunning blue. And it's backed by rosemary and Cleveland sage, and this is a white lavender. It's actually a lavender, and it has white tuft. I did have some salvia in here, a blue salvia, rocket blue or something like that, and it wasn't happy. It didn't thrive. There's a tea tree here, the white one. And if we look back this way, we have a blue hydrangea. There's more of the anemone in there. This beautiful clematis, love it. It's just kind of climbing its way around this tree, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. This is a eucalyptus tree, and I love eucalyptus trees. I like how they look, but they are messy trees. They drop giant bark things, they drop branches, they're brittle, I call them a trashy tree because they just drop trash all the time, which it's not trash, but it makes it hard to kind of keep a neat garden under a eucalyptus tree. Back through this way, I have more of the fortnight lily, and there is a begonia in here, a white begonia with the dark leaves. Working on developing this area. It's not very full yet. There were hyacinths through here in the spring, blue hyacinth. This I think is a spirea of some kind. You can see the white flower back there. Anyway, don't know the name of that one. And I've come in through this area all along the fence and put the tree coleus because it does so well here. Within a couple years, we're going to have a full block. There's also some coffeeberry, but they're quite small still. This area I've done nothing with. It's just, this is what it looks like under oak trees. Now, oak trees I love. They drop their leaves. They don't tend to drop branches. They don't drop big peels of bark. This I think is a snowberry, maybe, going everywhere through here. And ivy starts. I'm okay with the snowberry. That's a volunteer gopher's bane. It's not the right thing, not the right word. That's the wild cucumber. Got to get rid of that. But that's a job for another day. So here's a coffeeberry. This is a 3-year-old coffeeberry. I'm hoping it'll start doing better now. Getting taller. Come on, man. I'm kind of coming out of the back of here of this. I'll go back to the path. Okay, back on the path. So there's another one of those Kool-Aid trees. This area, there's snapdragons. These ones are almost done because they were blooming in the spring. And then foxglove behind. This is an elderberry. It was here when we came. Here's a look toward the orchard. From this end, this wonderful branch of this cypress comes down and up, and my plan is to train the branches and then have a little circular walk through here. I just think that'd be fun. I do have a hydrangea standard in here. It doesn't look very happy. There's a buddleia behind there. Here's some more of what I'm calling spirea, but I could be totally wrong. In this area, we planted a bunch of lily of the valley. It didn't bloom this year. Maybe it'll survive. Back in there, we have an impatient right there. Oopsie-doo. An impatient right here. More tree coleus. I don't know what kind of eucalyptus this is, but I love it because it has these beautiful, it almost looks like a weeping willow. And it has these beautiful flowers. I just think it has a really neat, soft texture, and it adds this drapiness to the yard. Looking back this way at the orchard, those are the gold raspberries. There's some nepeta here, hydrangea. I have some rock rose here. This one's a rock rose, it has a really soft pink. There's a sage over there that has a purple flower. Lots of roses now this year, and dahlias. There's another rock rose, and then this is where we had another big tree taken out. So I planted some tree coleus. That's the fastest growing screening thing I have, and it's easy to just take out when you don't want it. Here's a pink flowering currant. There's another giant pink rock rose. The interesting thing about rock roses is the flowers bloom one day and then they're gone. And then another one blooms, which is, you can see they're just loaded with blooms. I love this little bench. This bench was a birthday present to me from my mom. And see the poppies? See how cheerful they are? These random buckets you see around are our mosquito buckets. They have water in them with mosquito bits. This is an impatient. Working on trying to plant under here. The cypress and the pines take all the water from all the other plants, so I really have to irrigate heavily if I want anything to grow under them. But there's some ferns. That's a geranium majorensis. More of the impatient. There are 2 rhododendrons, one there, one behind. Okay, looking this way. This is from the orchard. This is the mini volleyball court. There is a avocado there, and the rest of it is a feijoa or pineapple guava hedge around it. This side we have more impatient. This one's really pretty. I think it has a white flower with a red throat. And I have some Japanese anemone in this area that I hope will kind of fill in. There's a podocarpus back here. This pine is a volunteer from this mother tree here. There are some astilbe, and we did plant some more lily of the valley in this area. And this tree was here. There was a giant eucalyptus here, and it snapped really badly in a windstorm, and they ground the stump, but looks like it's starting to come back. And what I'll do is I'll just cut it for flower arrangements. I have to come hedge this up a little more. This beautiful one with the red leaves is a photinia. The new leaves come out red and then they age to green. I just think it's beautiful. And it has white flowers, big white bracts of flowers, kind of like an elderberry. And I just think it adds a little bit of interest here. Instead of having all green, we mix it up a little bit. Coming back through here, I have some sugar bushes my mom gave me the first year we moved in, and they really haven't even put on any size at all. They need more heat, I think. These were supposed to be gigantic heuchera. They're quite small, but they're flowering this year for the first time. Looking back this way, there's some blue waterfall campanula. I'm going to plant more of that in this area. Things do struggle under cypress trees. They have really shallow root systems, so they take all the water. This, I'm going to have to look up the name. It has a purple flower. Here's some of them in there. And I've formed it into more of a ball, and hopefully it'll flower again this year. Geranium majorensis, a tea, more Geranium majorensis. This is another kind of geranium that grows lower and has purple flowers like this over here. And underneath, so I'm not exactly sure. We thought this was a different type of maple tree than it is. It doesn't really turn a vibrant color, but it's green. Look at these gigantic fig leaves. Goodness. I mean, hand. It's huge. This way we have a mulberry. It's the back of our feijoa hedge. Roses, lisianthus, fig. Rose, lisianthus, fig. There are 4... Why can I not remember the name of it right now? Lilacs. 4 lilacs there. They're Little Miss Kim lilacs. And looking from this direction, it's our blueberry patch here. I just added more to that side. And there are 2 persimmons. Fuyu persimmons, I believe, in this area, and they're blueberry and lavenders mixed. And then beyond that is citruses and rosemary. I have some, looks like snapdragons in here. It used to be more sunny in this bed. This tree is growing out this way. There's a really cool acacia here that we love. We call it the alien tree. Now it has purple seed pods. It turns bright yellow. The new growth is purple. And then it turns this sagey green and then a darker green. So it's like really got a really cool color palette to it. And I like it, backed up with the white peppermint pelargonium. Gosh, I don't know what this is. It almost looks like a hydrangea. Interesting. I have planted seeds over the years in this area that maybe finally are coming up. I know I planted some hellebore seeds that may take 2 years to come up in some areas. And this glorious rose is blooming. It didn't get eaten by the deer. All the other roses are kind of behind. But gosh, isn't that beautiful? Can't remember the name of it. Let me check. Yo, what is it? It's a David Austin. Vanessa Bell. So this is the Vanessa Bell rose from David Austin. Has all my citrus. There's oranges, lemons, limes, tangerines, grapefruit, all through this area. And I've just cut back the rosemary so we can finally see all the other plants that are mixed in here. There's artichokes. I love that light, sagey blue texture. There's white sage. There are roses. There's lavender. There's Cleveland sage. So this area is purples and yellows and greens. And I think this is a cute little ground cover. I don't know what it's called. This purple one. And then the yellow one is creeping wood sorrel, which a lot of people may think is a weed. It has actually a lot of medicinal uses. And there's some clover mixed in. Ooh, this is Monardia. This is going to be huge. Like literally it gets, 6 feet tall. It's huge. And then looking that way toward the vegetable garden, there's 2 Chilean guavas here. Some volunteer strawberries, more dahlias. This we think is a podocarpus. It was here when we got here. It's very happy. Looking back this way toward the citrus orchard, here's our peppermint pelargonium. There's some meadow sage. I have a lavender I killed there. The big broadleaf back there is a verbascum. It's the wedding candles, and there are 3 of them in this area, so they come up with these beautiful spikes. And there's an olive that was here, and this oak was here when we came in. We're just gonna let it keep growing. And this is our street frontage garden. I have a bunch of different colors of verbascum in here. This is a weed, but it's cute and purple. It's a crane's bill geranium. I have a lot of, can't remember the name of it. I'll figure it out, put it on the screen. It's a lily. It has really beautiful white flowers. There's hollyhocks in here. There's one bloom up there. That actually is a bloom off a stalk from last year. It's kind of weird. I had daffodils in this area down here. I believe it's called a ranga lily. This one here is really pretty. And we're getting a bunch of volunteer eucalyptus from our gigantic eucalyptus tree up there. I like the blue color, it's working. This area is reds, like a burgundy red. See this tea here? I have also manzanita. That's the name of that plant, I couldn't remember. There's a creeping manzanita here. And then I think it's, I can't remember the name of it. Back in there, there's another manzanita. Can't see it because of my shade. Here we go. Dr. Her, something manzanita. There's a sugar bush back in here I'm hoping will bring us some height. This is another kind of tea with the purple leaves. It has white flowers. So I was kind of going red, purple, white, and by red I mean burgundy. And continuing that color theme to have a really, sorry, dropped my cane. Continuing that color theme through here. I do have more Photinia in the back there. And a plant I cannot remember the name of. Has white flowers, purple stems, green leaves. This one. Can't remember the name of it right now. And then this is a giant white rock rose. Actually, it's 2. Sorry. I have a manzanita in here mixed in. Probably have to cut that rock rose back a little bit this year. I have more of those lilies flanking the walkway. There's another type of lily back in here. It has a red or a white flower. Burgundy, I mean, not bright red. There's some columbine in here, has some pink. This area has definitely evolved. Now it's all Matilha poppy now. There's some Gara down in here, the pink Gara, pink flower, little pink and burgundy flower. And a frog. Holy macaroni. Did you guys see that? That was a tiny frog. And this is like almost a black bachelor's button. This one here. Not the sage green, the more bright green in there, more chartreuse. So I'm gonna have to definitely minimize the Matilha poppy once it's done for the year. I'll cut it back a lot because I do have more things in here like manzanita. This was here when we got here. No clue what kind of juniper it is, but it's happy. There's some hellebores back in there, very far back in, that I can't get to anymore because of my leg. And that same color theme wraps around into the driveway garden here. We have a lot of white jasmine. This purple is Mexican sage. There's a columbine here that's purple, not purple, burgundy. There's a happy lizard. Lots of happy lizards. And then I have a begonia here. I do have 2 more of these I want to tuck in. This gets morning sun, but no sun. And then it gets shaded by all the trees. This is a mock orange. Love that plant. This is the other side of the driveway garden. A lot of that Mexican sage. There's a climbing rose in here that's kind of an apricot peachy color. This grapevine is the Rogers Red grape. I do not know the name of this salvia, but I love it. It's really beautiful. I love the purple and then the pink or apricot. Oh, it's just such a wonderful, it's warm. I think it was like a sunset or something like that it was called. I have a manzanita. I think it's paradise or prairie manzanita here. It comes out with more red and purple and then turns green. Mixing all together. Here's a photinia, more of the salvia. This is a cool one. I think it's called Mediterranean lavender or lilac or something. It's green on the front of the leaves, but then the back of the leaves are purple. So it gives this, you get 2 colors out of one plant. It's really cool. Way down in here, you can barely see it. I hope it makes it, is a red bud. I want that to get bigger. There are some anemone back in here. Can't see them for the grapevine right now. And then this is a hopseed, red hopseed bush. I'll probably limb it up and make it into more of a tree. That brings us to the end of the morning yard walk. That's my full yard walk that I do every morning, and thought I'd bring you along on that today instead of just doing what's looking beautiful, so that we could see what it looks like at the end of May and all the progress we've made so far this year, and take a look at areas that are going to need more work. That's my entire garden, and thank you for joining me. And I hope you have a great week, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye-bye.